Let's be honest. When was the last time you actually read every word of the fine print on your credit card agreement, mortgage, or loan paperwork? Most of us just sign on the dotted line, trusting that everything is above board. The truth is, those pages are packed with legal jargon and hidden clauses that can have a huge impact on our financial lives, but we rarely take the time to dig into the details. We go about our daily routines, working, raising families, paying bills, believing that the financial system is designed to be fair, or at least not actively working against us. We assume that the rules are there to protect us, and that the people in charge are looking out for our best interests. We put our trust in banks, lenders, and financial institutions, thinking they're playing by the same rules we are. We believe that if we do our part, they'll do theirs, and everything will work out. But history has taught us, time and again, that this trust can be misplaced. When no one is watching, some powerful players bend the rules, or break them entirely, to serve their own interests, not ours. The 2008 financial crisis was a wake-up call. Wall Street's unchecked greed and reckless behavior led to millions of people losing their homes, their jobs, and their savings. Ordinary families paid the price for mistakes they didn't make, while the big players walked away with golden parachutes. After that disaster, it became painfully clear that we needed a watchdog, someone to stand between us and the financial giants, to make sure the rules were fair and enforced, and to protect us from hidden fees, deceptive practices, and outright scams. That's why in 2011, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, was created. Its mission, to be a shield for consumers, to hold banks and lenders accountable, and to make sure the financial marketplace works for everyone, not just the powerful few. Since then, the CFPB has returned billions of dollars to people who were ripped off by unfair or illegal practices. It's helped families get back money they never should have lost in the first place. The Bureau has cracked down on predatory lenders, payday loan sharks, and companies that try to take advantage of people when they're most vulnerable. It's also made financial agreements clearer and more transparent, so you know exactly what you're signing up for. No more nasty surprises buried in the fine print. But now, in 2025, that shield is under serious threat. The very agency designed to protect us is being targeted by those who want to weaken or even eliminate it. Powerful interests in Washington and on Wall Street are pushing hard to defang and defund the CFPB. They want to go back to the days when they could write their own rules with little oversight and even less accountability. If they succeed, we'll be left to navigate the financial wilderness alone, hoping we don't get burned, but with no one to call for help if we do. It's a return to the days when the deck was stacked against ordinary people. The stakes couldn't be higher. Without a strong referee on the field, the game is rigged from the start. The rules become meaningless, and the most vulnerable among us pay the highest price. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is this: will we stand by and let them take away our only real protection? Or will we speak up, demand accountability, and fight to keep the referee on the field? The choice is ours. If we want a fair game, we have to protect the referee. Our financial future depends on it. So what does the CFPB actually do? You might have heard the name in the news, but most people don't realize just how much this agency impacts their daily lives. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, is a government watchdog created after the 2008 financial crisis to make sure regular people don't get taken advantage of by big banks, lenders, and credit card companies. Think of it as the customer service line for your entire financial life, with real power. If you've ever felt lost or frustrated dealing with a bank, credit card, or loan company, the CFPB is there to help you, not the corporations. Its mission? To make financial markets fair, transparent, and competitive for everyone. That means making sure companies play by the rules and treat you with honesty and respect, whether you're applying for a mortgage, opening a credit card, or just trying to understand your monthly statement. The CFPB writes the rules, like requiring lenders to make sure you can actually repay your mortgage, or making sure credit card companies can't hide fees in the fine print. These rules are designed to protect you from unfair practices and financial traps. It also enforces those rules, forcing companies to pay back money they wrongfully took and levying big fines when they break the law. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. Sometimes these penalties reach into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Since its creation, the CFPB has returned nearly $20 billion to over 200 million consumers. That's real money back in the pockets of people who were overcharged, misled, or scammed. But it's not just about lawsuits. The Bureau runs a public complaint database, giving you a way to be heard when companies treat you unfairly. anyone can file a complaint online, and it's free and easy to do. Submit a complaint and the CFPB pushes the company to respond, creating public accountability. Your voice doesn't just disappear into a void, it can spark real change and force companies to address problems. This pressure forces companies to clean up their act. When they know someone is watching and that consumers have a place to turn, they're much more likely to follow the rules. The CFPB gives ordinary people a voice against corporate giants. It levels the playing field, making sure your concerns matter just as much as those of the biggest banks. It's a simple, powerful tool for fairness. Whether you're fighting a billing error or just want to know your rights, the CFPB is there to help, and it only works if the watchdog has teeth. The CFPB is your financial guardian, making sure the system works for you, not just for the powerful. You'd think an agency that returns billions to Americans would be popular, but the CFPB has been a target since day one. Why? Because it costs the financial industry money when they can't get away with shady practices. Opponents have tried to weaken the CFPB by attacking its leadership and funding. They want to put the Bureau's budget under Congress, making it easy to slash. Now the most dangerous attack is happening, starving the CFPB of resources. Staff cuts and budget squeezes have gutted its enforcement division, the very people who hold financial predators accountable. This isn't just a trim, it's a deliberate kneecapping. A weaker CFPB means fewer investigations, fewer fines, and more room for bad actors. It's like cutting the fire department's water supply and hoping for the best. The result? A watchdog that can't bite. And that's exactly what its opponents want. The public loses, while Wall Street wins. Want proof that a weak CFPB is a bad idea? Just take a look at your phone. In today's world, our smartphones are more than just communication devices. They're our wallets, our banks, and our financial lifelines. Apps like Cash App and Zelle have revolutionized the way we send and receive money. With just a few taps, you can split a dinner bill, pay your rent, or send cash to a friend across the country. It's fast, convenient, and feels almost effortless. But that convenience comes with a hidden cost. These platforms have also become a goldmine for scammers who prey on unsuspecting users every day. When something goes wrong, your money can disappear in an instant. One wrong tap, one clever scam, and your hard-earned cash is gone, often with little hope of getting it back. The sense of security these apps promise can vanish just as quickly as your balance. The rules and regulations that are supposed to protect us haven't kept up with the rapid pace of technology. Fraudsters know exactly where the loopholes are, and they exploit these gaps relentlessly, leaving everyday people vulnerable. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, has been flooded with complaints about Cash App, stories of hacked accounts, missing money, and customer service that seems to go nowhere. People are desperate for help, but too often they're left on their own. The Bureau stepped in, launching an investigation. They found that Block, the parent company of Cash App, was failing its customers. As a result, the CFPB forced them to pay millions in fines and required them to overhaul their practices to better protect users. This is what the CFPB is meant to do. Stand up for consumers when big companies let them down. It's a watchdog that makes sure someone is looking out for the little guy. But these investigations don't happen by magic. They require dedicated staff, resources, and time. Every complaint, every case needs real people to dig in and fight for justice. With a shrinking team and limited resources, how many other scams are slipping through the cracks? How many people are left unprotected because there simply aren't enough watchdogs on duty? Without a strong, well-funded watchdog, the next financial disaster could be just a tap away. The risks are real, and they're growing every day. Technology is moving faster than ever, and consumer protection needs to keep up. If we don't invest in strong oversight, we're all left exposed to the next big scam. Otherwise, we're all at risk, no matter how careful we think we are. Zelle, owned by the biggest banks, is built into your banking app and marketed as safe. But when scammers trick you into sending money, banks often refuse to help, claiming you authorized the payment. Victims lose thousands, sometimes their life savings, with no help from their bank. The CFPB stepped in, clarifying that fraud-induced transactions are errors, and banks must reimburse customers. This was a huge win for consumers, forcing banks to take responsibility for fraud on their platforms. The banking industry fought back, lobbying to weaken these protections. This tug-of-war shows why a strong CFPB is essential. Without it, banks write the rules, and guess who those rules favor? A weakened bureau means more loopholes for scammers and less help for victims. The fight for fair rules is ongoing. Only a well-funded CFPB can keep the balance. Otherwise, we're all exposed. The CFPB doesn't just fight scams, it fights discrimination. Redlining and subtle bias still keep people from getting fair loans. The Bureau took on Townstone Financial for discouraging black applicants through racist public statements. Even though a court dismissed the case, the CFPB sent a message. Discrimination, even in coded language, won't go unchecked. These cases are complex and resource-intensive. Without enough staff, the CFPB can't take on these fights. A weakened bureau means more discrimination goes unchallenged. Fairness in finance requires a strong enforcer, otherwise old injustices just find new disguises. When Congress starves the CFPB, it sends two messages. To the financial industry, the cop is off the beat, cheating is less risky. To consumers, you're on your own. Companies that cut corners are rewarded while honest ones lose out. If you're scammed or hit with unfair fees, you face a customer service maze or legal costs you can't afford. One person against a billion-dollar corporation isn't a fair fight. This erodes trust in both banks and government. People become more vulnerable to scams and debt traps. The consequences are financial and societal. A system that lets the powerful prey on the public is broken. Without a strong CFPB, the game is rigged, and we all pay the price. The solution is simple. Give the CFPB the resources and independence it needs. Restore its funding, rebuild its enforcement staff, and protect it from political meddling. This isn't a partisan issue. Everyone benefits from fair financial rules. Congress must stop attacks on the Bureau's funding and structure. Independent funding keeps the CFPB free from political games. The Bureau needs more investigators and lawyers to hold financial predators accountable. A guard dog with no teeth can't protect anyone. We need to support the CFPB's mission and speak out when it's under attack. The financial industry has lobbyists. Consumers have their voices. Demand real protection, not empty promises. Because a weaker CFPB means more scams, more fraud, and more pain for everyone. Who should the financial system work for, giant banks or you? The CFPB was created to be your advocate and shield. Cases like Cash App, Zelle, and Townstone show what happens when the referee is strong and what's at risk when it's not. Technology and scams will keep evolving, and so will discrimination. Only a vigilant, well-funded CFPB stands in the way. This isn't just a bureaucratic fight, it's about your wallet and your future. Weakening the CFPB is a choice to side with predators over people. The shield is being chipped away, piece by piece. It's up to us to demand it be restored and protected. Because in today's financial world, a strong CFPB isn't a luxury, it's a necessity.